Many technology solutions today promise to boost productivity, agility, flexibility, simplicity, and efficiency. Well, these are all great goals, but how do you get there? The answer is by building your IT model on the right digital foundation. VMware Cloud Foundation. VMware Cloud Foundation delivers consistent infrastructure and operations to accelerate adoption of a cloud operating model via a standardized hyper-converged platform designed to manage VMs and orchestrate containers. As a platform for developing and deploying modern applications, VMware Cloud Foundation supports container-based applications natively and transforms infrastructure into cloud services. It's a full-stack platform that incorporates best-in-class compute, storage, networking, and management to deliver enterprise-scale performance and resiliency. You can build a hybrid cloud based on a common and compatible platform that stretches from on-premises to off-premises and manage global resources across geos and clouds. Built upon self-service APIs, infrastructure and developer services are automated. This bridges the gap between developers and IT, resulting in massive productivity gains. Intrinsic security is built into each layer of the stack, from microsegmentation at the networking layer to encryption at the storage layer. VMware Cloud Foundation and vSphere with Kubernetes enable developers to rapidly deploy new clusters, while IT admins manage VMs and containers using the same tools they've always used to manage their VMware infrastructure. Support any business or modern application need and empower your digital transformation today with VMware Cloud Foundation.
Hello everyone, my name is Elfaham. I'm a senior solution engineer in charge of hybrid cloud and software-defined data centers in VMware. I'm currently based here in VMware Dubai, covering UAE and NAL region. Before joining VMware, I've been with HPE for almost 10 years and I covered several countries in Middle East. I started my career as a technical consultant before being a solution engineer, so I have a good experience on both hardware and software sides. First of all, I would like to thank you all for your time for attending this session today. Please post all your questions in the chat box and I will address them right after the presentation. Our topic of today's session is the latest release of VCF version 4.0. The main goal is to address what is new in VCF 4.0 and our offering with all associated bundles and how VMware is being unique in its offering. I will make it short so we can have enough time for Q&A sessions so I can answer all your inquiries. So during my presentation, I will go through the VMware Vision and how the new release complements our story and the journey for the software-defined data center. I will cover the modern application trends and how the market is reshaping and drifting away from the legacy application architecture and how VMware is helping to build, run, and manage the whole new stack. I will then go through the challenges of running cloud-native applications and how our new release VCF 4.0 will help you run both traditional and modern applications. Finally, I will go through the VCF stack architecture itself from a high level and will show you how the different components are put together to build a complete integrated stack. So going through the VMware Vision, I'm sure many of you have seen this slide before. Personally, I like to have it in the beginning of any of my presentation, just to emphasize that our vision is not changing. Our vision has been the same through the past years. Whatever we are developing and releasing is to comply with this vision. I always see this vision as a pieces of puzzle where you put what you need together to build your customized platform according to the needs of your organization. So our vision is simply any device, any application, and any cloud. Going from the top tier, the end user computing, users can run their applications no matter which device they are using. For example, users can browse their email from laptop, cell phones, and even their smartwatches. Our strong portfolio empowers organizations to run any application no matter what kind of device they are using. Before this lockdown, I was testing some of the AUC functionalities to make sure I'm fully connected with all our IT portals. I was able to run my desktop and access through my cell phone as if I'm using a real desktop. Coming to the application architecture itself, no matter if it's a traditional or a cloud native application, and you don't care which platform is used to run this app. Looking on the infrastructure itself, you are not limited to host the application on a specific infrastructure. It could be hosted on a private cloud or a public cloud, or could be a breed of both. The most important thing we are maintaining across the whole stack is to have consistent operations and consistent infrastructure, as you have the same platform running everywhere. This helps IT operators to seamlessly move their workloads without the need of doing any kind of application refactoring. By deploying this consistent infrastructure across cloud, customers gain consistent operations and consolidated security in hybrid and multi-cloud operating models. The net result is that the complexities of the infrastructure fade away, allowing IT to focus more on developing applications and provide secure access to those applications and data from any device. VMware has consistently shared this vision, and with Cloud Foundation providing consistent infrastructure and operations with the consolidated security, the vision has become a reality. Looking at the modern application trend, we see a shift toward using containers in the application architecture itself. This trend has been in the market for years, and we can see our customers are moving fast to adopt this technology, and soon we will see a full adoption of this trend in the near future. What we have made is a shift in our core architecture itself to simplify the complexity needed to manage the new application while supporting legacy application at the same time. Because we understand that customer will not shift to modern applications all of a sudden, and there is still a need for legacy application in their core infrastructure. There are a lot of multiple research studies done by IT analyst firms. They are all stating the same concept, that everyone is going through a digital transformation which starts by the application, which is our starting point. What they are referring here are not the application that is built on legacy architecture that we know in the market for long years and takes a lot of years to deliver, which is known as the traditional apps. What they are referring to at this point is the modern apps which are being constructed as bits and pieces by developers' environment for a few months. The way modern applications are being developed now are extremely different. We have been hearing a lot of new concepts like they are designed to be developed fast and designed to be failing fast as well. Those are the applications that we call today cloud native applications. Today, 95% of those applications are based on containers. The main sponsor of having this today in place is the public cloud. The question here, what would public cloud has to do with those applications? Looking at the architecture of the public cloud, creating a new platform is becoming super easy. Today, what it needs to start creating an application is only a credit card and a budget, where all of a sudden organizations become enabled to log into the portal and provision infrastructure with a single click and start building applications from the pre-configured components. On the other hand, they will be able to leverage the open source platforms that are being made available free of cost. Developers can use the open source stack just to drag and drop components to create new third application out of the pre-provisioned stack. The growth of the public cloud by 2021, according to the study, will increase by 73%. This made us as VMware understand the market needs as a solution company and made us release a platform that is capable of enabling both our developers and IT operators to be using the same platform. However, give the flexibility and ease of use of the cloud offering in their own data center. VMware spent $3 billion over the past year focusing only on cloud-native applications. According to Mark Curfey, who is an experienced person and who is at the forefront of understanding business on cloud-native and open-source platform, said one interesting point, and I'm sharing it here in this slide. He said that 90% of the code used to build the new applications wasn't created from scratch. It was created out of open-source projects where an application started from a particular stack and built on top of it. This allows companies to focus more on innovation much faster rather than thinking on how to build the whole platform from scratch and waste a lot of time developing it. In this slide, you see the architecture of the platform which VMware newly released. VMware Cloud Foundation with Tanzu. VMware Tanzu is the platform that allows developers and IT operators to build modern applications or to continue operating to use the legacy architecture. It allows IT operators to run containers side by side to virtual machines, and also other flavors like serverless and AI machine learning on premises and on their own cloud with a consolidated management. The VCF platform gives a single control point across multiple clouds or multiple clusters made of Kubernetes to help bridging the gap between the IT and developers. VMware as a company with this move have invested heavily, but at the same point has opened up the doors for all our partners and ourselves as well to go and speak with confidence to anybody in the IT department. Developers will no more prefer to talk to companies of the software stacks they are supporting. Tanzu makes consumption of container-based workloads and DevOps infrastructure are simple to use, and it blends to whatever we had to deliver both workloads. I will go on a high level across the platform architecture as it's not the main topic of this presentation. It requires a separate session to understand deeply the functionality of each single component. So simply, we provide the dev framework which developers use to build the applications from scratch using Spring or other frameworks. We have taken pieces from the Pivotal and Bitnami to give a variety of applications to choose from. Tanzu application catalog, in simple words, is like the App Store on your cell phone, which gives you access to buy applications from anybody who complies to the rules of developing it on his platform with a small hint. This is the application store which could tag any platform. You can package and consume applications that have been done by the open source community itself, and Tanzu application catalog is basically listing a wide variety of apps and stack with production grade support. Tanzu application catalog gives a subscription to this application at once for a period of 1 or several years and consume open source for a low cost. In the run space, we have TKG, which is the Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, which is highlighted in the new release of the VCF 4.0, and legacy PKS and Pivotal framework. People with licenses for PKS are entitled to move to TKG and at no cost. I've been today through a demo with Tanzu. We created a full web application just by dragging and dropping components inside the desired developed application. At the modern infrastructure side, we are enabling the customer to run modern applications and legacy applications at data centers and edge. Tanzu can be running side by side on the same host with legacy applications to VMs. For management, we have Tanzu Mission Control and Tanzu Services. In summary, this is the Tanzu infrastructure components that comes on top of our VCF stack. Coming to this slide, just briefly, I will go through some facts about Bitnami catalog. Bitnami is a matured platform which VMware acquired recently. The beauty of Bitnami compared to other repos, other than the number of the components offered, is that it can run anywhere. As you can see here on this slide, you can run it on a VM container which can be hosted on any cloud. As you can see as well, there are more than 2 million registered developers with more than 1.5 billion compute hours per year, along with more than 100 releases of applications per month. I know I've been talking about Tanzu a lot, but the question here, what does VCF has to do with Tanzu? That takes us to the core of the presentation and announcement of VCF 4.0 with Tanzu. This is the view of VCF, which enabled us to help IT operators and make infrastructure simple. It consists of compute, storage, and network virtualization, along with the cloud management portfolio. The unique edge of VCF is that it provisions the same platform at data centers, edge, service providers, and public cloud. You don't have to run through application or platform refactoring in order to move the workload across the infrastructure. We have it integrated with AWS, Azure, Oracle, and many more to mention. What we are introducing in VCF 4.0 is making it compatible and providing developers what they need under the control and supervision of IT operators. If we look at the developers as today, they don't need vCenter GUI as our IT admins from the network and storage departments. They are interested more in Kubernetes platforms and catalog, which is provided to them through the VCF stack itself. We provide APIs for them to request features and applications from IT infrastructure, which on the fly is provision compute, storage, network on the flight. They have these controls at the tips of their fingers. They have the speed and functionality to transform apps from this platform to any other platform if needed. They can run VM side by side to a container on the same hypervisor. This is the bridge and what Cloud Foundation is made for. The major difference between this add-on and how add-ons were introduced in the past is that with vSphere add-on vSphere add-on with Kubernetes, it's a subscription-based model. It's no longer a perpetual license that needs to be bought. Subscription could be 1 or more years as it applied as a mandatory component to the Cloud Foundation stack. This is a vSphere feature is enabled within the vSphere kernel itself. It's a feature which will be available in the VCF edition for the time being. Tanzu could be bought as well through VMC, which can be hosted on various clouds through a different SKU model. It is important to note and go through the architecture of the VCF stack in depth. So the VCF consists of 4 components: the vSphere, and of course you can see the market share, the vSAN and its positioning in the Magic Quadrant in Gartner, NSX and its importance as a component which is a mandatory for VCF, which allows it to reach beyond the traditional data centers and support us to the hybrid cloud vision. Having all these components provided and supported from one vendor, knowing that all of the components are number one in the market, makes a huge difference. Positioning them together makes VCF more powerful to our customers. Rankings and the market shares that you see here in this slide is according to Gartner and IDC reports. The modern applications themselves are very different. They are not built in a traditional approach and not bought off the shelf with a small customization to make them in production. They are built silently behind the back of the IT operators. We call it in the IT shadows. They are built in those shadows of the public cloud offering because it enables them to get the infrastructure as when needed. they have budget, they spend the budget and suddenly get into production, great revenue, generating application, and they have a challenge on how to put it on the enterprise grade now. They go and they try to speak to IT operators. They try to describe that it's running into a container, but we have problems with the security and it's running outside the control of the IT organization so far on a public cloud. The IT operator wants to put things in control as per the compliance and can't help much in this situation. What an IT admin could offer is to convert it into a traditional virtual machine to be hosted on the legacy infrastructure. The developer here is the vendor, so there is no one that we can go back to the application to convert the whole stack. In traditional environment, we don't see this kind of clashes because this thing has not been introduced earlier in the market. Now we are getting new features every day. The beauty of this infrastructure is that new features are easily adopted inside the organization, keeping the same compliance regulation in terms of security and operations. Just a quick look on how traditional applications are evolving. We are used to these logos, so we see them every day with our customers. Customers have 3-tier architecture to run their Apache server with MySQL, data, and on top of it, Java application, hosted on a traditional VM on a physical infrastructure. The application of tomorrow, which we need to embrace in terms of technology, we see MongoDBs, Kibana, and more of them. So you see the complexity. We have many tiers of applications and not infrastructure like we are used to. It's becoming the way opposite. Application today uses simultaneously packaged several components within each tier to provide the expected results. I've seen most of these logos today in our customer in the past 18 months in different countries. The infrastructure of a modern app has a different complexity. Complexity is in connecting all the ends together. With BCF, we have simplified this approach by having a platform and architecture across the whole stack. Integration is no longer an obstacle to onboard your new developed apps. With VCF, customers have the flexibility to choose how they want to deploy their environment. If you have a small environment, you can start with the 4 nodes to provision your first workload. If you want to achieve higher availability within the same site or across different sites, we provide the option of deploying stretch clusters with only a few clicks, which will make your infrastructure ready for use. If you need to split your VCF for any reason, we provide the federation across VCF instances where you can still manage all your platform from a single window. In VCF 4.0, we are supporting the latest bundles introduced by VMware. We have SDDC Manager version 4.0, vSphere 7.0, vSAN 7.0 as well, and NSXT in all workload domains. We also have vRealize Suite 8.1, and we introduced all the new features along this stack. In vSAN, we introduced some new interesting features, which is the vLCM, where you can manage firmwares and drivers of the hardware. Previously, we were supporting only upgrades of the software bundles in the VCF component itself. So now you can do everything from a single interface. We introduced as well the integrated file services, which you can provision NFS storage from the vCenter. From the same vCenter, you don't have to go on another window. We have a lot of improvements in our compatibility with the cloud-native applications, where we provide persistent storage to run their workload. VCF 4.0 comes with the latest release from NSX, which is 3.0. VCF is running on NSXT, which enable all the features across the management workload domains. With VCF 4.0, you have NSXT running on both management and production workload domains. Just to summarize and conclude this presentation, we are delivering a fully automated resilient platform that is ready to serve both traditional and modern applications in a single infrastructure. Looking at the TCO, according to the studies held by the analyst firms, is cheaper 28% than traditional infrastructure without compromising the performance. It can be used as a foundation for both private and public clouds. Thank you, and looking forward for your questions.